زيتونا ونخلا وحدائق غلبا وفاكهة وأبا متاعا لكم ولأنعامكم فإذا جاءت الصاخة يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغنيه وجوه يومئذ مسفرة ضاحكة مستبشرة ووجوه يومئذ عليها غبرة ترهقها قترة أولئك هم الكفرة الفجرة صدق الله العلي العظيم. Inshallah, the translation as well. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the universally merciful, the especially merciful. He frowned and turned his attention away, simply because the blind man came to him interrupting. You never know, perhaps he may be purified, or he may be mindful, benefiting from the reminder. As for the one who was indifferent, you gave him your undivided attention, even though you are not to blame if he would not be purified. But as for the one who came to you eager to learn, being awe of Allah, you were inattentive to him. But no, this revelation is truly a reminder, so let whoever wills be mindful of it. It is written in pages held in honor, highly esteemed, purified by the hands of angel scribes, honorable and virtuous. Condemned are disbelieving humans, how ungrateful they are to Allah. From what substance did He create them? He created them from a drop and ordained their development. Then He makes the way easy for them, then causes them to die and be buried. Then when He wills, He will resurrect them. But no, they have failed to comply with what He ordered. Let people then consider their food, how we pour down rain in abundance and meticulously split the earth open for sprouts, causing grain to grow in it, as well as grapes and greens and olives and palm trees and dense orchards and fruit and fodder, all as a means of substance for you and your animals. Then when the deafening blast comes to pass, on that day every person will flee from their own siblings, and even their mother and father, and even their spouse and children, for then everyone will have enough concern for their own. On that day, some faces will be bright, laughing and rejoicing, while other faces will be dusty, cast in gloom. Those are the disbelievers, the wicked sinners. Sadaqallahu al-Ali al-Azim. Please, salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل. We'll recite Dua Kunal inshallah. Alt tab. That is in Alt tab. That's on. Yeah. Share. Should be able to see that. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزك وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك الإسلام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائه ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي وتجرعت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فاضح من البلايا قلته وكم من إثار وقيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته اللهم أذم بلائي وأفرق بسوء حالي وقصرت بي أعمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفعي بعد آمالي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بخيانتها ومطالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا إلهي وربي من لغيرك أسأله كشف ضري من نظر في أمري إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدوده وخالفت بعض أوامره فلك الحجة علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاء وألزمني حكمك وبلاء فقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي مؤتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك أذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك اللهم فاقبل أذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وثاقي يا رب ارحم ضعفاء بدني يا رب ارحم ضعفاء بدني يا رب ارحم ضعفاء بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي هب لي ابتداء كرمك وصالح برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي
وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك وأعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيته وتبعد من أدنيته وتشرد من آويته وتسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته ولا تشئري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادحا وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا وعلى ضمائر رهبت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارها سقط إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك أنك يا كريم يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي أن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكسور يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته فكيف احتمال البلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهلي لأنه لا يكون إلا بغضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستقيم يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أبج وأبكي لأليم العذاب والشدة أم لطول البلاء ومدتي ولئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائي وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك وهبني صبرت على هر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجاي يحبو فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآمنين ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين طباقها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمته ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيده ويتوسل إليك بربوبيته يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمه أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يهركه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه ظفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفها أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقا أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهدي وقضيت به من إخلاد معاندي لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدعا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي هتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته أخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيتا وبفضلك سترتا وأن توفر حظي من كل خير تنزل وإحسان تفضل وبر تنشر رزق تبسط أو ذنب تغفر أو خطأ تستر يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ربي يا من بيده ناصيتي عليما بدري ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وأعمالي عندك مقبولة حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب قوي على خدمتك جوارحي واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أسرع إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في المبادرين وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وعدنو منك عدنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد ومن كادني فكد واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة من وأخصهم زلفة لديك فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجد لي بجودك وعطف علي بمجدك وحفظني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما ومن علي بحسن إجابتك وأكلني عثرتي واغفر لي ذلتي فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة فإليك يا رب نصبت وجهي وإليك يا رب مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي فبلغني مناي ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.
Assalamualaikum everyone. This is an exciting day today. We're back after 1.5 years. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So a few announcements before we get started with the speech. So starting tomorrow, we also going to resume our Jummah prayers starting at 1:09 p.m. tomorrow. On Sunday, we have a Father's Day hike, so please do attend. And Monday, we have a jashan for Imam Raza alayhi salam. And finally, if you could recite Fatiha for today's sponsors. The Marhumin of today's sponsors. So these are Sayyid Sarwar Hussain Zaidi, Sayyida Zakiya Khatun, Sayyid Afsar Hussain Zaidi, Sayyid Muhammad Haidar Naqvi, Sayyida Basi Begum, Sayyid Azhar Hussain Hassan Abidi, Sayyid Asghar Hussain, Ibrarul Nisa, and finally Nazim Riswani. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim, as-siratal ladzina an'amta 'alayhim ghayril maghdubi 'alayhim waladdallin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قل هو الله احد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا احد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله احد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا احد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله احد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا احد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. And now I'd like to invite Mr. Islam Maulana Hadi Yasin to start his speech. Thank you.
The artists are coming. Yeah, that's it. इसको कहाँ रखो?
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة لأعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum again to all of you guys. May Allah inshallah bless you and accept all your amal, your dua. Inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed to come back after a long pause. Inshallah, may Allah keep all of you guys and us healthy and safe in all aspects. Let's, inshallah, at the beginning of our majlis indoor, recite inshallah Ayatul Kursi together and a short dua for the health of everyone, inshallah, in our community, and inshallah, everyone of mu'mineen and mu'mineen around the world, inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يعوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت فيؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله السميع العليم. الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياؤهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. اللهم اجعلنا في درعك الحصينة التي تجعل فيها من تريد. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. Inshallah, we're following our course. So as our tradition sisters, if they would like, they can come to the inshallah main hall so they can see the screen. So we're following inshallah the same course that we have, the history of Islam. And we mentioned a few important parts of the history of Islam from the beginning. What Rasulullah himself sallallahu alaihi wasallam went through. And the overall topic about the invitation of two different invitation of private, closed, and open, and public invitation of Rasulullah, and the strategies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the strategies of Rasulullah, the strategies of Ahlul Bayt in establishing Islam, and how they did and what they did, alhamdulillah, we will be able to talk about it. A very important topic that in this part we will talk about is the beginning of Muslim trials and tribulations. The reason I said the beginning, because it started at that time, still continuing, right? Never end. And we have to understand, we have to see what happened at the beginning. What was the strategies and tactics of the enemies of Allah, the enemies of Rasulullah? The same way that Allah has strategies and tactics, Shaitan and the enemies have strategies and tactics as well. Don't think that they are dumb, they just come to take your deen and naively they don't know what's going on. No, they have a specific, precise plans, sometimes as normal us Muslims, more precise and thoughtful. Let's put it this way. At the beginning, so we're going to go to the history to see what happened at that time, what they did. They are the pharaohs, the pharaohs of the time of Rasulullah, right? How they attack this important, deen religion that now is the fastest growing religion in the whole world, right? At the beginning, when we reviewed the history, we see that at the beginning, Quraysh did not show any, as we mentioned, animosity, any reaction to Rasulullah or to any of Muslims around. No, that's fine. Some person came up, there was some other people before they came and they claimed something and they went away. So there's this is another thing like that. So don't worry about this. They didn't show any reaction to them. Why? Because first and foremost, Rasulullah himself, he doesn't have any army, no one, with a small group of people. And who are following him? Guess what? group of slaves. Who cares about them? Group of young people. And Rasulullah, he said himself, I purposely invited the youth and younger ones first versus others because the hearts of youth are softer than older ones. They accept the haqq and the truth faster and better than older ones. And that's true. Because even the personality, even the changes you want to bring, the younger ones will take it. However, the older ones who the nur of Iman is in their hearts, they're different. The elders who have the nur of Iman, anytime, any moment of their lives, they're ready to accept it. As we see that the elder one, right, who became Muslim, who followed the path of Rasulullah. And even today, they follow the path, they change for better. The reaction of polytheists and the mushrikeen and the Quraysh started at a time that when prophets started criticizing their deen, their religion, their path, and they started talking about this is wrong, it's a deviation, your fathers went in the wrong path, and you know that they died in the wrong path and they're in the hellfire. So if I ask you, our discussion is interactive and neutral. So if I ask you, what does come to your mind that as long as Rasulullah and Muslims, they have their own deen, they're practicing, they're praying. He was praying next to Kaaba, not that he was hiding it specifically. He was praying with Amir al-Mu'minin Imam Ali Khadija, Zayd ibn Haritha, his adopted son, sometimes around the Kaaba. So as soon as, what comes to your mind, I want your input. As long as he is doing his own deen, they're fine with him. What happened and all of a sudden they attack him and they're against him? And why? We're analyzing history. It's not about that time, it's about this time as well. Think about your time. Give you a hint. As long as you're doing your own deen, you're fine. Don't go anywhere else. We're fine with you.
So they find it clash, in their old practices they were doing. They foresee on the road that, the practices that they had at the time, it didn't go away as they grew and
So what is it? What was the fear for?
repeat the comments of people on the live stream.
Live stream? Okay, the question is that what do you get from this point? At the beginning of Islam, Rasulullah is praying, having some small followers, and they're doing their own things. The Quraysh doesn't bother them, right? As soon as he is going to their territory and zones, and he says, no, you are wrong, you shouldn't do it, your fathers did the wrong job, then they become the enemies.
Because you became a threat to them now, that more people will conduct Islam.
What at the beginning of the invitation of Rasulullah, the same thing. People were invited to Islam, and they were attacked.
They become closer now to the community.
No, we didn't say here that they became a big community, then they started a fight. That's true, by the way, right? But even before they become a big community, they were fighting Rasulullah when he attacked their ideologies.
Is it a financial reason?
No.
So now it's going against what they were doing personally, but it's very personal to them. So if I'm doing something wrong and you're telling everyone else, I will be against you because I don't believe in you anymore. And all comes from believing in one God.
Think about today. Come out of the history.
Their control will go away.
Their what?
Control.
Their control go away. How about today? As long as you stay here inside yourself, don't do anything, no oppression, everything is fine. No one talks about you, right? As soon as you go, you want to say, oh, you're doing wrong. You shouldn't do that. Everybody talk about it, right? Become your enemies.
But they don't want to, probably, if we compare it today, if we go out, there are a lot of people will be educated about what we're doing, and they will see the side of our religion, and then they will convert.
Let's move forward to see what we find from the history. I want you to get the answer from the history, right? So this is the fact so far. Then as soon as Rasulullah started telling them you're doing wrong, nahya anil munkar, amr ma'ruf nahya anil munkar, they started having issue. Go to history of Imam Hussein, the same thing. As long as go do whatever you want to do. You want to be the leader of the Shia, don't attack us. Don't attack me, Yazid. Don't tell me I'm doing wrong. Don't tell people I'm doing something wrong. That what I have issue with, and I'm going to kill you. the Amr Ma'ruf and Nahi al-Munkar of Imam Hussein brought him to Karbala, right? If he could stay quiet, and well, he didn't. At first, they tried to indirectly, we're not going to mention what happened here, right? They knew that because of the tribal structure of their society we mentioned, they couldn't attack and harm Rasulullah directly, right? Because of Bani Hashim is behind it. Anything happened to Rasulullah, they're going to be in a big trouble, right? So they can't attack Rasulullah directly. So that means you need to strengthen the foundation of your community, physically, financially, anyhow that you can. Don't be weak. The leaders should be strong. The community should be strong. Anyhow, when you're stronger, your voice is more powerful, right? So that's important. So now let's go to the tactics to see what happened here in the tactics of Muslimin. And you realize, of the Mushrikeen, you realize what happened and what they did and how we can bring it to our time. The first strategies that they used, and think about your current time, please, as well. Compromise. People like Walid ibn Mughira asked Rasulullah, look at this. You worship our gods. Come and worship our gods. 1 year, we will go and worship your God 1 year. How about that, right? In this way, we will both be considered as being on the path of truth. Such a wonderful, great person, right? Such a nice ideology. Let's put together, be nice, kind. Why do we have to fight with each other? You come towards us and we come towards you. Very wonderful, right? If you bring this ideology today, why you're so harsh in your deen? Why you want to say halal and haram? Bring it down a little bit. We'll come a little bit forward towards you. You come towards us, we're going to meet each other somewhere, right? So why are you going to focus too much on the deen and the religion, all these aspects? Isn't it familiar to your mind, right? So it is so important today in the society, specifically in the Western societies, to do what? To think about compromising specifically upon your deen and your religion, right? Compromise on your deen. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I'll take a look how it is. Is it good? Yes. Is it good? Okay, I can see it. Okay, good. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. All right. So what is it saying then? There you go. Rasulullah, we found it. 1 year you come worship our God. 1 year what do you want better than this, right? And you know the answer of Rasulullah, right? We mentioned, of course, it's not gonna work and it's not gonna happen. Surah Kafirun happened right after that, when these people started talking about this and compromising this way. Another way, some of the mushrikeen and polytheists came to Rasulullah and says, you know what? Another solution. How about this? You don't criticize our God. Stay on your side. We're not going to criticize your God. We're not going to do anything with your God. Go worship your God. Let us worship our God. Then you're going to be fine. It's very familiar for today, right? Why you want to criticize certain groups, certain people, certain ideologies, certain practices? No, don't do that. Leave them alone. Everybody's nice people. You're going to be nice as well. Don't say anyone is wrong. Even if they're wrong, it's not your business. It's very familiar, right? And I want your mind to go start developing and thinking about all different aspects of the society that comes to your mind. I don't want to go to details. I cannot go to details too much. We don't have time and maybe we shouldn't. So I want you to think about all aspects. Stay on your side, accept everybody else as who they are, what they're doing. And then guess what? We're going to accept you as wonderful people, Muslims. And they did it at the time of Rasulullah. And Rasulullah, he is just one person. He doesn't have too many followers. Literally, it's a weak foundation yet. Physically, there's not too many followers. It's just attack a few of them. They're going to kill everybody. They can't do it. Well, logically, Rasulullah should think about it, right? Maybe at the beginning, let's do something. No, I'm not going to accept that. This deen should be strong in the right direction from the beginning. We're not going to do that. You see, the same mentality of Rasulullah keeps happening. Where? Amir al-Mu'mineen. At the time of Khilafat, after the second Khalifa, they told him what? You're going to be the Khalifa, right? If you accept what? Follow the path of this, the path of that, the path of Khulafa, right? Rashidin, before you. Amir Umar says, I accept the path of Quran, the path of Rasulullah, not the last two ones. No. Many people say, Amir al-Mu'minin, you could accept it and do whatever you want to do. No. The goal doesn't justify the path. The same thing as Imam Hussein he did. Is standing for justice and what is the truth, no matter what they want, right? Then Surah Kafirun comes. What strongly? Say, O disbelievers, I do not worship that which you worship, nor do you worship the one whom I worship. I know that. And neither I am going to worship that which you have worshipped, nor will you worship the one whom I worship. For you is your faith, and for me it's my faith. I'm going to fully practice my faith. Monana, is there any way our youth, in the United States, somehow compromise in some part of deen for them, it's different than the youth in Pakistan, in Muslim countries, in Iran, in Afghanistan. Can we somehow compromise on deen? Don't tell them to practice certain things. We'll practice a little bit of that. First and foremost, you're insulting your youth and the power of the youth that they can do certain things, right? Who established Islam at the beginning of Islam? The youth, the younger ones. All the older ones were against Rasulullah. They were fighting to kill Rasulullah. And the second, no, we cannot compromise. Not you as parents cannot compromise on deen of your children. Not the scholars cannot. No one can do it. Not Rasulullah, the Prophet of God, cannot compromise on deen. Deen is something that intact came to Rasulullah and now is in our hands. We cannot compromise on this. It's not in your hand to tell your daughter, sweetheart, you don't have to fast today. You're without any logical reason. But if you do that a little bit, that's fine. Or you force your wife not to practice certain part of deen. You cannot. Well, at the day of judgment, we see what Quran is talking about, all these things, right? When we see Rasulullah, he's standing for the truth. He says, no, that doesn't work. But the first strategy of enemies is what? Compromise. Assimilation. Compromise on your deen. If you want us not to attack you, stay on your side. Don't say that we're doing something wrong. Accept everyone who are doing something wrong. It's not your business. Rasulullah says, no, it is my business actually. What you're doing, it is my business. Rasulullah, come on, it's not your business. You stay on your side, see whoever wants to follow you and leave them alone. No. Imam Hussein, stay on your city, you go to Yemen. Have fun over there with a lot of people. Don't come to our side. No. Something that is nahya and munkar is this. It is wrong. I'm against it. I do not approve it. Do we have this power in our, let's start from our communities. I'm not saying go to the society. Do we have this in our families? Do we have this much bravery and courage to stand up and says, this is wrong. My cousin, my brother, my sister, I know you're doing this, but this is wrong. I can't approve it. I can't go to that party. I can't come to this wedding. This is wrong. Here's my gift, for example, if it's not approving, if it's not actually supporting the haram. Otherwise, you shouldn't even give that gift. I love you so much, but what you're doing is wrong. I can't do it. You know what? Do you want me to go to hell? Do you want me to be burned in the hellfire? The same thing Amir told Aghil, right? Do you want, look at this hot piece of iron, right? Do you want me to? No, you don't want me. I can't attend here. Do we have this much bravery? If we have this much bravery in the community, then we can do it outside as well. With following the conditions, step by step, respectfully, nicely, all those things that we know, right? Not harshly, stuff like that. Definitely, we understand that part. So the first part, the enemies attack you, is to compromise in deen. Please, if I want to go to the details of this, it will be another couple of sessions to talk about you today, how the enemies, they want you, and they brought this seed in the mind of your children. Already they did, don't deny it, to compromise on deen. Maybe if it's a private session, I can go to the details later on to give more examples, and then we have more time specifically what does it mean. To compromise in different parts of the deen. Anything that comes to. There was a very nice statement that Maraja said. I said, anytime, any moment that the enemies praise you for something, you should be 100% sure that this is wrong. What you're doing is wrong. When they're attacking you, when they do something, they're attacking you, you're wrong, you shouldn't do this. That is exactly what you need to do. Do opposite of it. Whenever your nafs and ego tells you, oh, good job, stop it. Whenever your nafs is disgust, hurting you, bothering you, that's exactly what you need. Nafs ammara, wrong, ego. This is a good rule of thumb, right? Whenever you see enemies are taking a picture of certain group of Muslims or youth or hijabis, putting under here and there and blah, blah, blah. Look at this. This is Islam that we want. You see how beautiful, nice, everybody's compromising? This is the moment you have to think about it. And the social media is full of these examples. It's getting out of control. It's getting to the point we should sit down literally and first cry for what is happening, and then blame ourselves for being quiet, condemning ourselves, all of us, for being quiet, not doing anything. It's happening in front of us. Third, sitting down and thinking about strategies. Sometimes you see something in the social media, like with the elements of Islam, you're doing this. With claiming that you're Muslim, please don't claim that you're Muslim, because you're. And sometimes they're. You might think of it, they might even be, I don't know, like paid to do these things to ruin Islam. Yes, that's possible. Anyhow, second, the first one was compromising, right? The second strategy and tactic of the enemy's psychological pressure on you. As much as possible to put a lot of pressure on you, and they did. We're going to talk about it. And to your family, so you accept it. What they did to Rasulullah, let's go to history. Public accusation and insult to ruin his reputation and isolate him in the society. They had a meetings to talk about it. What can we do to ruin his reputation? The enemies would sit down and think thoroughly about how to destroy your deen and yourself if you stand up. They thought about it. Okay, what can we say? We can say that he is lying. Literally, it's in the history. It's like, no one is going to believe in us because he's Muhammad Amin. He never lied. Let's say he's looking for power. He's never been looking for power, so no one is going to accept it. Let's say he's looking for money. No, he's not looking for money. What should we do? Let's say he is what? A magician? Sahir. He said, yes, that is good. Why? Because he has sihr bayan. When he talks, people will be mesmerized, will follow him. Look, he created deviation and disunity in Quraysh. So he has a magic. And they started saying. So his reputation would be ruined, but people would not follow him, right? They attack you for this. Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab, Walid ibn Mughira, Abu Sufyan specifically, he did this. He sat down and did this. Today, go to different examples. If you stand up against a group or ideology or something, already there's a lot of psychological pressure against you that doesn't even let you speak about this. A lot of psychological pressure that as soon as you talk, says, oh my God, this is, what is it? Where did you come from? You're so prejudiced. What? You don't accept this. No. Accuse you with different things, ruin you, your reputation everywhere, show your picture, to shut you down. And they tried to do it this way. So tell me, what was, with all so far, the strong tactics that they had, what did help Rasulullah that they were not successful? What was it? It looks like they thought a lot about this and they practiced this. So what helped Rasulullah here that these things were not successful? What? Beliefs of Rasulullah. The iman of Rasulullah, number one. He's like, I'm not in charge. I'm just a messenger. Well, if you want to do it, do it. They did it. And most probably a lot of people followed them that he is a magician. They didn't become Muslim at the beginning, maybe. Yes, a lot of people, right? They accused him, they hurt him. A lot of people participated. It's not that everybody know you're wrong. No, a lot of people. It's like, but I have to. We're going to go to that physical part. They broke his forehead. They wanted to kill him. All these things happened against him. It was like, I have to. This is the path I need to do it. The iman of the Rasulullah first. Second, steadfast, perseverance, strength of personality of Rasulullah. Ourselves and our children should be raised as what? Strong people first. Strong personalities, not weak personalities. As soon as someone says, oh, you're doing it, be scared to run away. Then because of that strong personality, you need to raise them. Before you introduce Islam to them, the little one, you need to raise them with a strong personality, right? When they become a strong, people with a strong personality, then you introduce a strong ideology to them, guess what happens? They defend that ideology with that strength and personality. The personality of leaders in the societies, leaders of religions, when you look, al-Maraja, they're strong and brave people, right? Strong and brave people. Even others, like even non-Muslims. Nelson Mandela, he has a strong personality. He's ready to go to prison to do this. Gandhi, he has a strong personality, right? He accepts all these difficulties to prove the point. He said, nope, I'm not going to bend down in front of the British people, the government, right? So now that is strong personality. If it comes to the right direction, guess what? The result will be Islam, following Islam, right? So that psychological effect that they put a lot, and they did. I mean, part of the history says one of the mushrikeen, he was a very generous person. So one day he invited Rasulullah to come to his house for dinner. Rasulullah says, well, you're mushrik, I can come and eat in your house. I won't come. And that part that you're mushrik, I can't come to your house, is like a shock. Part of our deen is, for example, not ta'amul with mushrikeen or najasa tahara. A big part of it is for that shock that gives what's wrong with me? Nothing with you, with your ideology, right? So that shocked the guy. He's like, okay, no, let me hear what you're saying. Finally, he became Muslim because of that. He became Muslim because of that shock. Became Muslim and invited Rasulullah to his house. Rasulullah went. And then his friends came later on, keep talking to him. No, that's wrong. Why did you become Muslim? You shouldn't have done this, blah, blah, blah. This is wrong. Psychological pressure. He became mushrik again. He became mushrik. And in the war of Badr, he was killed. Quran says, some people at the day of judgment will bite their hands, their fingers, and say, I wish I wouldn't take that person as my friends. And I think a lot of people in our time would bite their fingers. I wish I wouldn't have that family as the friends of me and my children. I wish my children were not the friends of those people. Quran says it's about friendship. Third one, the political attack that they had against the community of Muslims. Isn't it so familiar with you nowadays, right? First, compromising. Second, psychological pressure. Third, political. It's such a familiar process nowadays. Political power. Isolation, putting somewhere, attacking politically, right? First and foremost, meeting with Abu Talib, the one who's in charge of us, right? Meeting with Abu Talib, go take care of your nephew. He's getting out of control. Meetings with Abu Talib. And here's about Abu Talib, that what he did and why, unfortunately, sometimes you see in the histories of Ahlul Sunnah said he was not Muslim. No. Mostly because of sometimes issue with Amir al-Mu'mineen, first and foremost. But come on, how is it even possible someone who with his whole heart is accepting and defending and supporting Rasulullah, he does not accept it? First and foremost, it was a tactic of Abu Talib. Not showing his iman, so when they were coming to Abu Talib, it was like, you're one of us. Otherwise, they wanted to kill Rasulullah. He was not showing he was calming them down 3 times, 2 times when they came and complained to him, he calmed them down and says, okay, I'm going to talk to them. It's like, okay, so he's one of us. Yes, at least he's not Muslim. He hid his what? His iman and his faith so he can calm down the animosity. At the same time, Islam is getting stronger and stronger, right? At the same time, Rasulullah, he has more opportunity in Hajj and other occasions to talk about Islam. But meetings with Abu Talib. Let me tell you about this great man personality of Abu Talib. One day, he's a Buzurg of Quraysh. One day, one of these meetings that happened, in the morning they came to Abu Talib and says, submit Muhammad to us. They wanted to kill Rasulullah. And he said, I'm not going to do it, of course. Right? At night, Rasulullah was lost. They couldn't find him. They were looking for him everywhere. Abu Talib, as Abu Talib, what he did, he said, he brought a group of Bani Hashim with himself. He said, have your swords, whatever you have, and hide it beneath about your clothing and everything. Go to Masjid al-Haram. Every single one of you will sit next to one of the heads of the Quraysh. If at night they still couldn't find Rasulullah, if they killed Muhammad, I tell you, you kill every single one of you, you kill your target. Look at the bravery of Abu Talib, right? If Asadullah al-Ghalib, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, bravery in his blood comes from his father as well, the genes, right? Imam Sadiq said, be careful who you marry because the genes, the gene would affect your personality, the personality of your generation, right? Abu Talib is strong enough, he says, you know what that means? They're going to kill him right after that. Don't think he's going to kill the heads of them and the tribe is going to be quiet. No, they're going to come kill him. He knows that. The bravery of Bani Hashim. They were afraid of the bravery of Bani Hashim. What happened is that, right, they were ready, and then all of a sudden Zayd ibn Haris came to Masjid al-Haram and he says, oh, I just saw Rasulullah. And Abu Talib says, I'm not going to go home unless I see him. And then tomorrow he came to them, to those mushrikeen, and says, that was my plan last night, be careful. Well, of course, he's hiding, so he was his belief system. So he won't be, so he can support Rasulullah in a better way and take time and buy time for him. Anyhow, meetings are so political attacks, rising public sentiments against the Prophet that he was attacking the ideology. Look what he's doing to you. Look how he's calling your forefathers. Look how he's accusing your fathers going to be in the hellfire. That's wrong of him. Go defend your fathers, defend your beliefs, worship your idols, defend your gods. Nowadays in social media and the public and the TVs, oh my God, this is so much. Look at this person talk this way about the society, about that group, about this person. Oh, the whole society and media will become what? Together to destroy that person. If you see sometimes they attack some of the ulama, they do something, they try to ruin their reputation. Be careful. Right or wrong, whatever happened, don't follow the path of shaitan and enemies. They are looking for that. They find a trap, they throw the trap, and as soon as the victim comes in, and all the community of Muslim, oh my God, that was so wrong. Even if Islamically is fine. Oh my God, why? Be careful. That might be a tactic of the enemies. Right or wrong, it might be not acceptable. But you be careful, don't follow the path of what I said. What? Whenever enemies, they say something is good, it's bad. They say something is bad, that's actually, you should think about it. They were trying to raise this concern in the community at that time, presenting Islam as restrictive lifestyle. Look, when people were coming for Hajj, they were telling people, look, the deen that Muhammad he brought for you doesn't even let you drink, doesn't let you have the relationship with whoever you want, this and that. So they will be against Islam, right? The political aspects of it. So in the society, if you do not follow them, they're going to put so much pressure upon you and on you, so you will be isolated. They do something, brothers and sisters, please just hear what I'm saying. They do something that unfortunately you will be isolated in the Muslim communities. Then it's up to you how strongly you want to stand up for your deen. We comes every Muharram and Safar and Ashura, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. If I don't get the message from the life of Imam Hussein, I'm just doing azadari for myself, not for my deen. Let's be honest. Everyone can come to Majalis of Imam Hussein and do azadari. Very important. Very important, full of reward and thawab. We all know about all those ahadiths, right? The carpet of Majlis of Imam Hussein is the wing of all, we know these things. But what we need to get from Imam Hussein is what? What he wants us to do about deen and for deen. They didn't become shaheed for me and you to cry for them. So Imam Hussein thought Allah, the most important person, he becomes shaheed for a group of people to come cry for him. Oh, what is it? No. Cry for him and get the motivation from that tears to stand up for deen. The third thing that they did, physical attack. They literally, when they were disappointed that none of these things are going to work, the political, the mental, blah, 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 now we go physically against you. Specifically after the path, when Abu Talib, he passed away. Because as long as he was alive, he was the power, like I said, what he did, right? He was defending Rasulullah, and he was the Zul of Quraysh. They were careful. After him, Rasulullah had no one. Abdul Muttalib passed away, Abu Talib passed away. They did many things. The house of Rasulullah was next to Abu Lahab and Umayyah, the two worst enemies of Islam. Umayyah and Abu Lahab. His wife is who? Hammalat al-Hatab, right? And they were doing everything they could to destroy, throwing filth at Rasulullah when he was, going through garbage at him. Rasulullah, think about this. The whole universe bent down in front of him. Arsh of Allah rotates around him. Angels are around him. This pure, holy personality and person, how he's treating him. What he went through for this deen that we have right now. How this disrespected him. Put the intestines and the parts of the body of the animals, throwing him at the door of his house, putting thorns and a lot of blocks in front of the path that he has to come out of his house. He can't come to bother him. Abu Lahab and his wife, Hammalat al-Hatab, right? The one who carries the roots. Don't you think in the society that was so disrespected to Rasulullah? Muhammad, everybody respect him. He doesn't care about the respect that comes from people if it's against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First, what I need to do, my wazifa, my responsibility, what is that? Tell me that. And in this path, you're going to be stoned, you're going to be accused, you're going to be ready. Not too many people are brave enough to do that. One day Abu Jahl said, I was so angry. Look what Muhammad is doing. He's spreading nifaq in our groups and Quraysh, blah, blah, blah. Tomorrow when he goes to sajda, I will kill him with this stone next to me. Tomorrow Rasulullah comes to Masjid Haram, he goes to sajda. Those who heard he's going to do that, they were shocked what's going to happen. He grabbed the big rock next to him. He went to kill Rasulullah with that. All of a sudden he stopped. He couldn't do anything. And he came back. People said, what happened? He was like, I don't know. I swear I wanted to do it. Something didn't let me. I became so scared of him all of a sudden. And now you do your job, Muhammad, we'll take care of you. Even physically. You heard about the other stories. The guy came. Rasulullah was resting beneath a tree, he came and took his sword next to Rasulullah. He says, okay, now I'm going to kill you. Now tell me who's going to help you. No one was around. Rasulullah around. Now tell me who's going to help you. Rasulullah looked at him and says, my God is going to help you. He started laughing. God, where is he? Tell me. He started laughing and going backward. He fell down. He fell down. Rasulullah grabbed the sword and says, now who's going to help you? Many times they wanted to do, and they went to kill him. Another guy came, he put his cloak against the neck of Rasulullah and started choking him when he was in sajda. You never heard about these things. He was in sajda, he started choking. Rasulullah says in one tradition is that he choked me so bad that I thought my eyes going to come out of my head. They did these things, physically attacked Rasulullah, his house, his family, his everybody. And then after that, his children, right? This is the cost of standing for deen and religion. And then against other Muslims as well, not just Rasulullah, against Bilal al-Habashi. You know what happened? Bilal, he was the slave of, this great personality, slave of Umayyah. This barbaric, bloodthirsty, prejudiced enemy of Islam. He couldn't go against Rasulullah. He realized his slave became Muslim. He took him in the heat of Hijaz, in the heat of Saudi Arabia. He was making him naked, putting him on the ground, the pebbles and the stones that you can literally cook. You can cook over there on the ground. And he was putting a big rock on top of his chest. He was putting his feet on top of it, and he was pushing. He says, you should say that you're not Muslim and disrespect Muhammad and his religion until I let you go. This is his own slave. No one can do anything, right? And Bilal, the only thing he was saying was what? Ahad, Ahad, Ahad. Means there's only one God. He was torturing him, and everybody got shocked. Look at these, because the slaves were considered weak, people and then low status, social status, right? They didn't expect this power from a slave. African slave, you came here to do this thing. Everybody got shocked. Why all of a sudden this person is so strong? That was tabligh. And then Rasulullah, brought someone and then paid Umayyah somehow, but Bilal al-Habashi, and then Rasulullah, freed him for the sake of Allah. Parents of Ammar Yasir, right? Yasir became Muslim and they tortured him. And then after they tortured him, they killed his mother, Sumayyah, the first shuhada of Islam. They killed him. And then they tortured Ammar so bad, and all of a sudden, he accepted. He said, okay, I accept. There's no Muhammad, there's no deen, there's no Allah. All of a sudden, and then because of the pressure, and he becomes so, he regretted so much after that he said that. And then he came to Rasulullah right away. They freed him. When Rasulullah, I did this, I'm so regretted that I said that. Was your heart fully with us? He said, yes. Which is torture. Says, good. And ayah Quran came. Their heart is full of iman. They force them. They say something. But then they talk of taqiyya come and other things. Right? They tortured them. They killed them. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he started reciting Quran. They started beating him. His head was, bleeding and everything. So all these things happen, brothers and sisters. All these scenarios happen, the tactics that they had. They happen. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. That's right. So they did all these things against who? Against Islam. These things happen actively they were against. Actively they were going to hurt Rasulullah, to hurt Muslims, but they stood strong. That's why we brought this topic, this important piece of the history, that the Muslims' trials and tribulation will still exist. And it will exist, unfortunately, until the, inshallah, the dhuhr of our Imam Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam. In this path, it's up to us how we see what we see and how much, inshallah, we're going to be knowledgeable, smart, to learn and know that, inshallah, what we need to do and how we need to support our deen, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajjal faraj. Allahumma ajjal li waliyika al-faraj, wal-afiyata wal-nas, ومد في عمره الشريف وزين الأرض بطول بقائه اجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره وشيعته يا رحمن يا رحيم ثبت قلوبنا على دينك بحق الحسين يا Allah بحق رسول Allah hasten in the dhuhr of our Imam Mahdi. Let us and our generation be amongst the true followers of our Imam. Our children, our generation, let them be among those who will support the path of the zuhur of our Imam. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, and keep everyone, mu'mineen and mu'minat, all around the world, people, keep them healthy and safe, and let them, inshallah, get back to their normal life. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, those who have hajat and request give them khair hajat, those who are sick, heal them, and those who passed away, send the tabab and the from our gathering to their soul, inshallah. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
So please stand for the Ziyarat al-Waritha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya Ibn Rasulillah. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayka ya Waritha Adam Safwatillah. السلام عليك يا وارث نوح النبي الله. السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله. السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله. السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله. السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا وارث علي أمير المؤمنين ولي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى. السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاه يا أبا عبد الله أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة. لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدهنات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين. وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله إني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم مؤمن بشرائع ديني وخواتم عملي. وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. زيارة حضرة عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها الشهيد وابن الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلت، ولعن الله أمة ظلمت، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. زيارة حضرة الفضل العباس عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك أيها العبد الصالح المطيع لله ولرسوله. أشهد أنك قد جاهدت ونصحت وصبرت حتى أتاك اليقين. لعن الله الظالمين لكم من الأولين والآخرين، والحقهم بدرك الجحيم. زيارة سائر الشهداء عليه السلام. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه. السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأولياءه. السلام عليك يا أنصار دين الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله. السلام عليك يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الزكي الناصح. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله. بأبي أنتم وأمي طبتم وتابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا عظيما، فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام على 9 المعصومين من ذرية الحسين. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان. الأمان من فتن الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا قامع الكفر والطغيان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك، ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اللهم صل على محمد محمد عجل.
We're going to have prayer, so I think so you can get ready for prayer and then we'll have the azan shortly.
You know what to do about the programs. We just wanted to announce the upcoming programs now that we are back from resuming our indoor programs. So tomorrow Juma prayers will be held on site at 1:09 p.m. On Sunday we have a Father's Day hike, and on Monday we have a session program for the Chashma of Imam Mirza alayhi salam. Thanks. And soon we'll be starting our 100 prayers as a month. Thank you.
One right? 8:51 पे अज़ान देंगे। Just like a few minutes.
الحمد لله رب العالمين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله.
اللهم صل على محمد.
أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أشهد أن علي ولي الله. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على لا إله إلا الله